Welcome to True Tales from the Other Side. If you have a true encounter with the unexplained that you want to share, contact us through the email address below. Enjoy.
I've been a cop for over 15 years, and let me tell you, I've seen some weird stuff, but nothing like what I saw last month. I'm not going to say which city I work in because, well, I don't want to lose my job. Let's just say it's somewhere in New Jersey. It started on a quiet night shift. I was parked near the edge of town, overlooking a big reservoir, killing time when I noticed something in the sky. It was faint at first, just a couple of lights moving too fast to be planes. Then more appeared, at least 6 of them, zigzagging like they were playing tag. I thought maybe it was drones, but they were moving so fast I wasn't sure. I radioed in to ask if anyone else was seeing it, but nobody answered. I figured maybe it was just me. But the next night I saw them again. Same place, same time. This time, though, I wasn't alone. My partner saw them, too. "Those aren't drones," he muttered. "At least not the kind I've seen." We decided to call it in. Our dispatcher sounded annoyed at first, but then her voice got real quiet. She told us to log it as a routine patrol, and not to mention anything else. That's when things started getting strange. The next day I came in for my shift, and there were these guys in suits at the station. Not your typical detectives. These were the kind of guys who don't introduce themselves and look like they walked out of a government building. They were talking with the chief, and whatever they said to him must have been serious. When the meeting was over, the chief looked pale. I've never seen him like that before. He called a meeting with the whole department and told us, flat out, to stop talking about the lights. "I don't care what you think you saw," he said. "You didn't see anything. Don't log it, don't mention it, don't even joke about it." We were stunned. My partner asked why, and the chief just glared at him and said, "Because I said so." That wasn't the end of it, though. For the next week, the lights kept showing up. I'd see them on patrol, darting over the reservoir, zipping across the sky. A couple of guys joked about it, saying it was just fancy drones. But I wasn't laughing. Neither was my partner. One night, we were driving past the reservoir when we saw them again, this time up close. There were more of them, maybe a dozen. And they weren't just darting around. They were hovering, almost like they were scanning something. Then, as fast as they appeared, they shot straight up into the sky and vanished. No sound. Nothing. After that, the suits came back to the station. This time, they didn't even bother with the chief. They just went straight into his office. When they left, the chief looked worse than before. He didn't say anything to us, but the next day, a memo went out. Do not discuss any sightings on or off duty. Period. We tried to act normal, but the whole department felt different after that. No one joked about the lights anymore. Even the older guys, who'd normally shrug off something like this, were quiet. One of them said to me, "I don't know what's going on, but whatever it is, it's way above our pay grade." I haven't seen the lights since that week, but I still think about them. About how they moved, how quiet they were, how deliberate. I can't shake the feeling that we weren't just watching them, they were watching us. Something's happening out there. I don't know what and I don't know why, but I can tell you this. The chief isn't the type to scare easy, and those lights, they weren't just drones. Take this how you will. Call me crazy, call me a liar. I don't care. But keep your eyes on the skies, because I don't think this is over.
I've been a firefighter for almost a decade now. You'd think I've seen it all: house fires, car wrecks, the occasional warehouse blaze. But nothing could have prepared me for what I saw in that field last week. It was a quiet night shift, the kind where you're hoping to catch a nap but know better than to count on it. Then the call came in: fire in a field just outside of town. At first we figured it was probably a car fire. Those happen more often than you'd think, especially late at night. So we rolled out, lights flashing, sirens cutting through the stillness. On the way there, I couldn't help but think about the strange lights people had been talking about. I'd seen them a couple of times myself. Just little flashes in the sky. Nothing I thought twice about. Probably drones or something, I figured. But as we got closer to the fire, I started to feel uneasy. When we arrived, it became clear this wasn't a car fire. The flames were bigger, brighter, almost unnatural. And the thing in the field? It wasn't a car. At first I thought maybe it was a small plane, but then I noticed there were no wings. Just a smooth metallic shape, half buried in the dirt and burning with this strange bluish-orange flame. I'd never seen anything like it. Still, we're firefighters. Strange or not, a fire's a fire. So we got to work. My crew and I started spraying it down, trying to get the flames under control. That's when I noticed something else. There was no sound. Normally you hear the crackle of flames, the hiss of water hitting heat. But here, it was silent, like the fire didn't want to be heard. We'd barely been on the scene 10 minutes when the SUVs showed up. Black, unmarked, with tinted windows. Vans pulled in right behind them, all of them screeching to a stop in a tight formation. Before we could even ask what was going on, men in suits started pouring out, flashing badges I didn't recognize. Some of them had guns. They walked right up to us, calm as you please, and said, "We'll take it from here." My captain tried to argue. Standard protocol and all that. But they weren't having it. "You need to leave," one of them said, his voice low and firm. "This is a federal matter now." The captain looked at their badges, then at their guns, and gave us the signal to pack up. So we did. What else were we supposed to do? As we drove back to the station, the guys were quiet. Nobody joked or speculated, like we usually do after a strange call. I think we all felt it. This wasn't something we were supposed to see. And whoever those people were, they didn't want us asking questions. The next morning I couldn't stop thinking about it. So I went to the fire chief's office. He was sitting at his desk, staring at a report like it owed him money. When I asked about the fire, he didn't look up. He just said, "What fire?" I laughed, thinking he was messing with me. You know, the one in the field last night. The plane, or whatever it was. That's when he looked at me. Not annoyed, not confused. Just tense. Like he was trying to decide whether to say something or kick me out. After a long pause, he repeated, "What fire?" I backed off after that. Something about the way he said it made my skin crawl. But I can't stop thinking about it. The lights, the fire, the suits. None of it makes sense. And the more I think about it, the more I'm convinced this isn't over. Something's happening out there. Something big. And if those people in the SUVs have their way, we'll never know the truth. Keep your eyes open. You might see the lights. Just don't expect anyone to believe you.
Thanks for listening. Remember to like and subscribe so you don't miss the next set of tales from the other side. Submit your story to the email below. And remember, nothing is what it seems.